Welcome back. Future of crypto regulation is a big topic here at the World Liberty Forum in Mar-a-Lago. Joining me now is Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong and Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican from Ohio. Senator Moreno is one of the leaders of the negotiations in Washington and a former crypto entrepreneur himself. Gentlemen, it's good to have you both.
Thank you for having us.
Kind of rare to have you together. I like it. So Brian, what is the status of the market structure regulation that you famously blocked from passing a few weeks ago?
Yeah, well, we're here meeting with crypto companies, bank representatives, and senators as well to see if we can get to a solution on market structure. And one of the big issues that did come up in the past was this idea of stablecoins on rewards. I wouldn't say we blocked it. In fact, nobody, I think, in the crypto space has been working harder on this over the last few years to try to get some legislation. What we did say was the current draft, we had some issues with it. I think that caused everyone to come back to the table. And there's now a path forward where we can get a win-win-win outcome here. A win for the crypto industry, a win for the banks, and a win for the American consumer to get President Trump's crypto agenda through to the finish line so we can make America the crypto capital of the world.
Were you surprised? What was your reaction when he after he's obviously been so involved in this and was so deep on it and then came out against the version of the bill? How did you react to that?
Well, look, I had concerns about the bill, still have some concerns about the bill. We weren't done. We got hung up on the issue of rewards on stablecoins, which is really, in my mind, really shouldn't be part of this equation.
Wait, can we just explain this? Like why people should care about this? What the whole yield rewards on stablecoins thing is about?
Well, unless you own a bank, you probably shouldn't care. Because if you're an American consumer, what it means is that the cash that you hold, you're going to have competition to pay you more interest. So you're going to be able to get more money for the money that you have in your wallet or the money that you have in some sort of account. So this is very, very good for working Americans because ultimately this is about giving Americans more rewards for being able to have cash on reserve, being able to get paid quicker, being able to transact faster, democratize the financial systems. But we're going to get this bill across the finish line. But I would say
when?
Hopefully by April. Hopefully by April.
I was going to say, because if you don't by the midterms and then the House goes Democrat, then what happens to it?
Well, the House isn't going to go Democrat, neither is the Senate. People say, well, the election were today. The election is not today. We're going to win because, look, at the end of the day, the American people are sick and tired of open borders. That's why we got elected. They're sick and tired of high inflation. They're sick and tired of an out-of-control government. We're about to see $100 billion in additional tax refunds, most of that money going to working Americans. The Democrats only have one idea, which is hatred of President Trump, and that's not a very good idea in terms of actually advancing the lives of working Americans.
So, Brian, on where it goes from here, the senator explained the whole issue of rewards for stablecoin issuers. I know the banks don't like it, right, because they see it as a potential threat to their deposits. But some critics would say you're just trying to protect your business.
Mm-hmm. If you survey Americans, 87% of them say that the current financial system doesn't work for them, that there's too high fees, there's delays, there's unequal access. And so crypto is updating the financial system. The smartest financial service institutions out there and banks are leaning into this as an opportunity. You can see on LinkedIn, they're all hiring for crypto and blockchain product managers and engineers. And Coinbase is actually powering infrastructure for 5 of the largest banks in the world right now. So the smartest ones are all leaning into this as an opportunity. This is about, it's good for Coinbase, it's good for the crypto industry, but it's also good for the banking industry to embrace innovation and adoption. America has never been one that just tries to be stagnant and protect the incumbents. We want to lean into the future and make sure that America stays competitive because we're existing on a global stage here, right? Like China is putting out a central bank digital currency that is paying interest. There's offshore unregulated stablecoins, which are actually much bigger than the ones that are regulated within the U.S. perimeter right now. President Trump has said he wants to repatriate these funds to build this industry here in America, and to do that, we have to have stablecoin rewards.
So where are you in discussions with the White House on moving this forward and getting it passed by April?
Yeah, well, the administration has been incredible on this. President Trump setting the tone from the top, naming David Sachs as the crypto czar, Patrick Witt, and then the Senate has been incredible as well. So they're meeting, as far as I can tell, daily on this to try to move this forward, and they just deserve a ton of credit. So all we've tried to do is, behind the scenes, be constructive, lay out potential solutions that can be a good win-win outcome for crypto and the banks. And I feel confident they'll get something done.
Is it moving forward with these rewards in place for stablecoin?
Yes. There's a small list of remaining open items, and I think that if a compromise can be found, this will get to the president's desk for a signature in a few months.
What about the price of Bitcoin and the fact that it was down last year and an up year for the overall market, and has started out really rough this year, down more than 20%. Does that impact the sort of broader movement to get more done here?
Not really. I mean, crypto, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Bitcoin is still the best performing asset of the last decade, right? So we try not to take a short-term point of view on that. When crypto prices are down like this, actually Coinbase is buying Bitcoin. We're buying our own stock back. We're just continuing to build in these down markets. So there's an opportunity whether the market is up or down, and we try to just take it.
Why do you think it's down so much?
You know, people have a lot of Monday morning quarterback type theories on this. Whenever the market moves, they'll say, you know, Kevin Warsh is an inflation hawk, or they'll say that quantum computing is on the horizon. In my view, the markets are a little bit more psychological than that. People say, you know, I don't think there's any substantive issue, but I think other people do, and they'll want to lock in gains and move it up and down.
One thing I've heard is that quantum is going to break the blockchain. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I think that's a very solvable issue, and actually Coinbase has been very front-footed on this. We put together a quantum advisory council, and we're in regular contact with the major blockchains about a path to upgrade to a post-quantum cryptography world. So we're going to stay engaged on that, and I think it's very solvable.
Senator, I'm curious about what your vision is here for the future of crypto, stablecoins, and getting them into the U.S. system in a regulated way, but also not threatening the U.S. dollar.
Well, it actually is the opposite of threatening the dollar. This is the best thing that could happen for the U.S. dollar because it dollarizes the world. It creates massive competition for treasuries, which is going to drive down our debt cost to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars per year. And by the way, put more money in the hands of consumers. Ultimately, that's what that is. When you have people who are depositing money and they're not getting the kind of return they should get or rewards that they should get for having those deposits, that hurts working Americans. They're the ones that are suffering as a result of that. You can also have, by the way, imagine a world in which you have instantaneous payment for payroll, where payroll doesn't settle twice a month, it settles every single solitary day. You have velocity of money. The idea is very simple. Money should move at the speed of information, and that is going to happen. Let me just be clear. This will happen. That's not the question. The question is, does it happen in the United States of America, or does it happen somewhere else? We cannot lose our innovative edge, and that's why President Trump is the person who's going to make certain that America never, ever falls behind on innovation. And look, at the end of the day, you're worried about the volatility of Bitcoin, which, by the way, has nothing to do with stable coins. Wait till I talk to you about silver and gold.
Right. Well, they've definitely outperformed Bitcoin.
Not over the last 10 years.
Okay, over the last year or so.
But you would never advise your viewers to look at a 1 year before making investment decisions. This is about investment decisions over a longer period of time. And the reality is Bitcoin is just getting started. You're going to see.
You think Bitcoin is a safer bet than gold?
I would absolutely buy Bitcoin today instead of gold. And by the way, just be clear, I don't know any of that because I don't want anybody give me grief about whether I'm objective or not objective. But if I had money to put in the market today, I would buy Bitcoin.
Well, we know, Brian, that you've been buying back Bitcoin. I do want to just, in the minute that we have left with you, just hit on what we got from the CFTC this week, which was big news on the prediction markets. The commissioner is actually here at this conference. And they announced that they're coming out swinging against these states that are trying to go after prediction markets as gambling. This, I would think, helps your business a lot, and you're part of this new council. What's your reaction?
Yeah, well, Coinbase has been building out what we call the everything exchange. So we have every asset class there, crypto, stocks, commodities. We also launched prediction markets, and you're correct. Commissioner Mike Seelig has been great on the leadership front here, coming out and stating what is already in the law, which is that the CFTC has exclusive authority over these types of contracts. And some folks in the state level are unhappy about that. This might go to various courts, may even go to the Supreme Court. But I think ultimately the CFTC chair is right on the law, and they'll win. The CFTC has the authority. There's state preemption, and so we're going to rely on that as well.
And I know you were also very supportive of this. I saw you posted on that.
Look, the role of the United States government or any government is not to protect incumbency or business models that are eventually going to be replaced. Our job is to make sure we create an environment for innovation and growth with proper guardrails, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Who's going to be replaced?
Well, look, ask Sears how Amazon worked out for them. Ask Blockbuster how Netflix worked out for them. Our job isn't to protect business models that are just not working. Young people don't like our current financial system. It's going to be replaced. We want it to happen here in America.
All right. Well, just a little taste of the conversation going on here at the World Liberty Forum. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And I think we should also disclose that you donated to the super PAC of your election campaign, just for
because they agreed with me, and not because I agree with them.
Yes, and also he backs, I think, most pro-crypto.
I do.
Lawmakers.
I donated directly to him as well.
Okay.
He was the first crypto executive to run for the Senate, so.
So you were all about it.
Yep.
Brian Armstrong, Senator Bernie Moreno, thank you both very much.